Business professionals from across Yorkshire and the Humber attended a special event hosted by the Learning and Skills Council to discuss how the region's skills strategies are being developed and delivered. The Question of Skills debate was chaired by writer and broadcaster James Naughtie, best known as the presenter of the Today programme.
My job as a chairman from the outside is to make sure, first of all, that people get proper answers to their questions. Now, I should also make sure they don't speak at inordinate length and make speeches rather than questions. But the real idea is to ventilate the arguments that there inevitably are with anything like the Learning and Skills Council. What works, what doesn't work, what's next in the pipeline. And the point about something like this is lost if it isn't really an open, no-holds-barred discussion. And my job is to make sure that is going to happen, and I hope it will.
Taking the questions were a panel of 4. They included David Way, the National Director of Skills for the LSC, Margaret Coleman, the LSC's Regional Director in Yorkshire and the Humber, Tom Reardon, the Chief Executive of Yorkshire Forward, and David Hodges, the LSC's Regional Director of Skills, who outlined the benefits for businesses of being able to attend the event.
I think there are two aspects of it, one which is a direct benefit for them, one which is a direct benefit for us. It helps them to understand what our agenda is and what we can do for them, but equally we get to listen to the employer's voice. There's the whole sort of emphasis at the moment on trying to make our provision demand-led, that demand being from employers and individuals, and if we can better understand what that demand is so that employers and individuals can articulate that to us, then we can make that provision respond to that and be so much more effective.
So let's go to the very first question, which if I can, this is just like me in the mornings, it's the weather, only it's not the weather, it's the questions. And Peter Ryder, who's the principal of Leeds College of Technology, as many of you will know, has got the first question.
Could we take a lesson from the Bank of England and take the skills agenda out of government hands and let the market decide what's needed and who provides it?
Government is trying to move in a similar direction. I think skills is hugely important, and we're not in the place we need to be. But what are we trying to do? Well, firstly, I think as far as the employer side is concerned, I think government has placed a big responsibility on the sector skills councils to try to define what it is, what are the qualifications that employers really want, and there's a big job there to be done. Frankly, if we can identify those qualifications, then we can ensure that those are the qualifications we fund and learners will get the learning that they need.
Tony Cherry from the Federation of Small Businesses. And as an aside, by being here today, obviously I'm not making a living because I run my own business. But as a business person, if I don't please my customer and provide the service they want, I'm out of business and perhaps have lost my home as well. So a suggestion perhaps is for the panellists there, they might put their house on the line with the job that they're doing. And one way of doing that is to be accountable to us at a local level. And you often say that in your speeches about engaging with the local business community. I wonder when you do that, can you provide an example of how you've actually done it?
We decided some time ago that one of the major issues that the health sector has is that they spend a significant amount of money each year on training and development activities, but the vast majority of it, something like 85%, goes to fund the training of doctors and nurses. And so we looked at how we could support the training and development of the rest of the staff. So we've worked together with the NHS to put a compact together, which is effectively a something for something deal. So the NHS will identify individuals that could benefit from training and development activities. We've identified what we could do to help them to get that training and development. And that compact is about to be rolled out across the whole of Yorkshire and the Humber on a formal basis.
The north of England is starting to open up an increasing number of distribution centres. And quite where anyone thinks that Tesco, for example, is going to get 1,000 to 1,500 new staff without pinching them from someone else, I ain't sure. And I don't think they are either. So I think there is a skills shortage and there is a labour shortage, and the temptation is to pinch labour. And that's just a reality. In terms of the second point, I agree with actually quite a lot of what you said. The additional point I would make, which in a funny sort of way bridges the two, is to look at tax credits. If you as an employer invest and it is audited to be proper and correct investing, why not give a credit back against the tax you pay? Because that bridges the 2 points without going into the detail of it.
Margaret, do you have any comment on that?
Yes, thank you. Well, I suppose we've always sort of rather fought shy of having anything that smacks of a training levy, although that sort of that notion comes up from time to time. I think what I'd really like to do is to take issue with this this focus on level 2 business, because while I agree with David Way's points about why we should focus on level 2 and below, I also appreciate that employers find it incredibly frustrating that a good deal of public money is being spent in bringing young people and adults up to the level where they should have been when they left school, and that's a particular issue for us in this region.
From the recent research that we did in response to the RDA's Better Deal for Business, yes, skills came out as one of the biggest issues, if not the biggest issue. And the answer there was, why can't we have things brought together at a regional level? We don't understand why there is an LSC, why there is sector skills councils, why there is an RDA and separate business support organisations. It's ever so complicated, and it doesn't seem like it's getting much easier.
I think what we've got to do is what I was saying at the start about, I think there is an opportunity to simplify, and some mergers and acquisitions may be the route that's taken, but the key thing for me is I've seen this happen before, and you get the same people doing the same jobs with different nameplates over the door.
Having spent quite a bit of money on the doors.
Absolutely, yes. And so what we're trying to do on the business support review, rather than restructuring it, it looks like you're being very macho and very, radical in what you're doing, but actually you're not. What we're trying to do with the business support review is to look at the consumer, exactly what Sandy said.
The question of skills event was open to local business people, trade unions, colleges and training providers. And the panel were questioned on issues including central government's role in training and how the LSC were engaging businesses at a local level. Amongst the participants, Paula Grizzard from the Back to Work company.
It's been a very interesting event because my work is very much around economic regeneration, so it's very important for me to be completely up to date on obviously anything around the labour market and most specifically around the skills agenda. So it has been very, very valuable for me, and to try and get a handle on the strategy that not just the government's putting forward, but what's really been translated at a local level.
I thought we covered a lot of ground. I thought they were quite polite. They took a bit of pulling out, but I thought that some worries were really clearly expressed there, and I thought we got enough of a response from the platform to give people a sense of what they were thinking about the problems that face them, and the Leach report coming out and all the rest of it, which I hope will give the people who are here a sense that the various aspects of their lives in terms of training and skills that they're worried about are being addressed. And I think to that extent there was a kind of ventilation of the questions, which after all from the beginning is what we were after. So I'm reasonably happy. No one went completely bananas, which is always a good thing. Somebody going half bananas would have been quite fun, but people are very well behaved in Yorkshire.